my cabinet colleague, Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security. More importantly, the Member of Parliament for this region. That's what makes everything works. That make everything to work. His Excellency Jason Hall, who is the first resident High Commissioner of Jamaica to India. I was non-resident High Commissioner. I couldn't afford to leave Jamaica, so I stayed. Mr. Sanjay Gupta, of course, who's here with the Indian High Commission. Commissioner Masar Rungsung just left to Vancouver, I think yesterday. We're happy to have you, Sanjay. We see you everywhere. Good. But especially importantly, Mr. J.A. Chowdhury. Mr. Chowdhury is, as you have heard, started his foundation, sold some of his shares that he owned in NVIDIA. That's my interpretation. He hasn't told me anything. But he has been such an outstanding investor, such an outstanding starter of business. When I listen to him talk, and Shulett and Kelly Dawn isn't here yet, Shulett has been traveling with me all over the place. It's the same story that I tell. What I'm going to tell you is that with the new election, you listen for the name of Dr. Chowdhury and listen for the name of Andhra Pradesh. Now, Prime Minister Modi is going to be back making India the outstanding country has done in the past 10 years. But this time, with the BJP having only about 240 seats out of the day, Andhra Pradesh is king made. No, that's not, those are my words. In terms of having Prime Minister Modi continue to lead India. So you're going to hear a lot more about Andhra Pradesh. But Dr. Chowdhury has control of southern India from Chennai, Bangalore up to Hyderabad, and all of that area, all the areas that I know. I've been, I know all that area very well, but I wanted to give him a special round of applause for leading this delegation to Jamaica. Also, Dwight Crawford, our new young deputy mayor, in 2 years' time, he'll be with us. I said. But it was good to see you this morning. Mr. Sri Adluri, good to have you here, where you work on the New York Stock Exchange, among other things. And of course, our host, Dr. Kunal Kori, wonderful founder, CEO of BIMS. I met him 24 years ago, maybe. I was on vacation at the half moon with my family. He had just come to be a doctor in Jamaica, he and his wife. And I think his son was probably just born then, or maybe right after. And we became good friends. I mentored him through the stock market, of launching his company through the stock market. And we've been very close friends. So I am amazed. I know where this is coming from nothing. I'm amazed to see what has happened here, what he's turned Vipers into. And I want to give you to give him a very special round of applause. That we get from business people that pays the Deputy Prime Minister, the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, me, Shulett, everybody else that works in government. Oh yes, you're going to say, but we pay taxes too. We pay taxes after we get paid from the money from business. So I'm very appreciative of sponsors, and I always take a minute to say thank you very especially to sponsors, media practitioners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. India has just gone through an election where they had approximately 800 million people vote. That is unheard of, unprecedented, completely amazing. I have been associated with India before I was 30 years old. Long time I've been there, been to India over 100 times. My banking career in the Middle East was made by Indians. The guys who I recruited to do credit, to do analysis, to do operations, to do IT. We were changing from, in 2000, all my IT, 2 degrees from IIT, That's the Indian Institute of Technology, which is right up there with Caltech and MIT. In fact, every one of the big American companies that you see have Indian CEOs, including IBM. They're Indians, and they all generally pass through IIT. So I've seen that. I've seen India change. I was the executive vice president, very young age, for a big bank in Kuwait. Dr. Manmohan Singh was advisor at the Minister of Finance, not even yet Minister of Finance, advisor. Dr. Narasimha, not Dr., Prime Minister Narasimha Rao was Prime Minister. Because India is the fastest growing large economy in the world, I can say this now, with great admiration for where India is. At the time, India was on its economic knees. It had to pledge its gold to the Bank of England, you remember, and UBS. Okay? Kuwait, they needed oil, didn't have it. ONGC had money, but Indian Oil Corporation had no money. So I, this young banker from Kuwait, went to India on a New Year's Eve and loaned India $250 million in order for it to continue to get its oil. It couldn't afford it. But Kuwait and India had a great arrangement. In my bank, I had one deposit of $600 million. That's Kuwait. Because Kuwait is rich, still very rich. And so we were able to do that. So my history with India, not only did I lend to India, but India made my career. And I'm so happy today to have so many Indians in my country welcoming you to Jamaica. I'm happy to have you. So that's my very brief, much longer history, but that's a brief story of the wonderful impression I have of India. But now have 800 million people going to vote. No mishap. They voted. They started on April 19th, if I remember. Counted one day, finished in June 6th, because it's all electronically done. The national ID has made it so easy to do what you have to do. And again, brought in by Prime Minister Modi. He has done a tremendous job. Glad to see him back in the job. I'm sure he is. But he's going to have to be, being the fox he is, he's been in government. You're going to watch him manipulate and operate. So I wish you guys well in Andhra Pradesh. You have a master to deal with. So, but you know something? India and Jamaica has a similar thing. Not only are we in the Commonwealth, not only is India the biggest English speaker in the world, whatever America and England think, the largest amount of English speakers in the world are in India because your population is so big. We have a legal system. Yes, well, they have a lot more Hindi speaker, but your population is so big that you're more than 300 million, which is in the US. So you have that huge population, but you have a legal system that we both understand. Supreme Court in India at least 9 times, well, either before it came into being. So we are familiar with that. We have cricket in the same way, but we have something else. We have a democracy that is amazingly strong. Dr. Chang was MP and General Secretary of the party. I worked with the leader of the opposition, then now Prime Minister, in 2015-16 to make sure we craft an economic policy that got us into power. But we have a democracy that is amazingly strong. We won by 1 vote in 2016. 1 vote. The Prime Minister that was Prime Minister leaves Jamaica House that evening. The next morning, Andrew Holness was Prime Minister. That's the strength of our democracy.
We have a currency that is not under any control. We have a free, transferable, negotiable currency. Bring clean money in, take clean money out. And in case the money is not clean, we have good friends that Sri is close to that will tell us the money is not clean. So we don't have to worry about it. You can't fuss about with funny money in Jamaica. We have a clean system. We have a stock exchange that is strong. Twice in 5 years, Bloomberg said it was the best. We have a government that has not raised taxes in 8 years. We have cut income tax twice, and we have reduced the VAT, what you will know as VAT, in our period of time. And we have a revenue stream that has been stronger than our estimates every single year. In other words, we've gone through the pandemic, spent 100 billion Jamaican dollars we didn't expect to spend, and we have not raised taxes any of those period of time. We have a government, the Andrew Holness administration runs an economy that is anybody's pride. The outgoing head of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, and the incoming one, Georgieva, praised us together because of how we run our economy. It's an accolade we don't want to ever have again, because it means we were a basket case. That's why they're praising us. We're not interested in that. Not anymore. So we thank you for the accolades. We don't want it anymore. Because we're now running an economy that is important. But you know what? A picture is worth 1,000 words. Put up some slides here for me. Let me finish. You see this slide? Jamaica's balance of trade. I start off here to let you know why we welcome investors so much. In the 62 years we have been independent, we have had 1 year when we had a positive trade balance. That was in 1966. In other words, we have a long history to overcome. You know how we brought down, we had a debt to GDP of 147% in 2013. We brought it down by making it a national event. We have to bring down our debt. It's now down to 74%. Will be down to 60% in a couple of years. By 2028, it's be at 60% or lower. That's where we're going. We have done it. We run faster than anybody in the world. And except for two Indians called probably Tendulkar and Virat Kohli, we bat better than anybody else in the world. Okay, but you know something? We know where India is coming from. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So this is why, this challenge is why we want you here. We want that positive trade balance to come back to place and become strong, because you can only become strong when you are positively trading. Germany came from nothing by trading. Singapore didn't even have a country. And Israel had to be carved out of the Middle East. They're all strong. In the next slide, let me show you why. I want to show you something. Per capita GDP. Now look at that. I have 3 countries up there. Jamaica, India, and China. Take the numbers from 2001. Why? Because 2001, the last thing Bill Clinton did was to make sure China entered the WTO. It is in the same quarter, the same year, we were in gap. India and Jamaica were in gap. So we were in the trading system. But we had to join the WTO because it came to be, we joined the same year as China. So the blue line is Jamaica. We were about $5,000 at that time. In fact, you go back to 1970, we had 5,000 US dollars as the per capita GDP. So where India was just above 2,000, China was just above 2,000, India was below 2000 in 2001. This is something that you need to, I walk around this in my brain. Because China entered WTO and therefore became the trading nation of the world. They turn everything, and remember now, China is a command economy. You can't do that in India. We can't do that in Jamaica. My God, you would have something in there. You try that stuff. Especially after the last election. We can't do that in Jamaica. China has a command economy. But look at what China did because it was able to trade. By 2009, you see the Chinese, the green graph crossed Jamaica. They caught us up. We haven't moved very much. We moved up now to about 6,000 plus 2023. But since between 1970 and 2022, we're about $5,000. India has meandered a little bit higher. You're getting bigger. But look at where China is, 12,000 thereabout dollars. When you multiply that by 1.3 billion people, you understand why they're the second largest economy in the world. Which means I know where you're going. Because I know where the size of your economy today. You're going to be the third economy in the world shortly. And you're going to continue to grow because you have a young population. China's population has leveled off. It's going to come down. We have that same issue a little bit. We haven't leveled off yet, but near it. So this is a graph that you, my good friends from India and Jamaicans, are going to continue because we want to see both of our lines going right up. We want to cross green. You know why it's not impossible? Trinidad and Tobago have 14,000, 15,000. Bahamas has 31,000 per capita GDP. It's not impossible. We can do it. And with you coming in here with the size of our economy and how it's structured now, we can get there very quickly. So this is why I wanted you to see this graph and to digest it and come back, Shri, and come us help us make this grow down here. You and all your friends. So we look at Jamaica's real GDP. You see what happened? We were growing well since we came to power. Starting 2011, we came to power in 2016, which is when it gets green. Green is the wonderful color of the Jamaica Labour Party, the governing party in Jamaica. So the graph is green. But look at what happened to us. We're going so well. 2019 going up. Pandemic. Our economy dropped 10%. But look at how quickly we recovered because we managed our economy so well. Remember now, we pumped in another $100 billion, didn't borrow any money, didn't raise taxes, and we're back to where we are. This is the country you must come and invest in. This is where you must come. No other country in the Caribbean can match those numbers. We run a good economy. We know how to run a good economy. You think I'm lying? The FT, the Financial Times, said to a big country that Shri knows well, say, you want to know how to handle your debt? The 31 trillion that you have? Talk to Jamaica. So, I mean, we talk about that because the truth is, in 2011, 2012, all the economists in the Financial Times would call us a basket case. So when they say something good, we say it. We're very happy to have it. And of course, Bloomberg has said this. When I visited Bloomberg last year, I went there, I think Shalette was with me. They said to me, why aren't you putting out any paper? They want bonds. They said on the emerging market pile, Jamaica is the best paper. You know why? Because we haven't borrowed any money. Bankers love you when you don't borrow. Them comes tough money down your throat. Well, we haven't been taking it because we know what it is when you have debt you can't manage. Next. Jamaica's net foreign direct investment. This is where you come in. I have net foreign direct investment. And when you look on that graph, there's a little thing at the bottom there that said GOJ, Government of Jamaica, out of the local capital market from 2016 to 2023. There's a reason I tell you that. In other words, we have our foreign direct investment has gone down, but our local direct investment has been strong because the government has not been borrowing. Usually governments go in the capital market and squeeze out the private sector. Private sector can't get money to borrow to build their business. You're looking to bring people in here. Our banks have money. We're looking to bring investors in here. We wanted to look at our special economic zone. We have pension funds that want to invest. This is the place to come. So you don't have to look at only foreign capital. We have money to invest, and the government is out of the capital markets. No, we are a country that they called in 2011, 2012, 13 a basket case. This country has turned around. We haven't borrowed a penny in the local market. So money is there to grow the economy. This is the economy to come to, Mr. Chowdhury and your team. You're in the right place. Let me see if I have one more slide. Now look at this. Jamaica's debt to GDP. See that long spike up there in 1991? 240 or so percent or debt to GDP. Only Japan that we survived, I have no idea. You know, I tell you a story. It's a true story. And when I lived in the Middle East, I came back every summer. And when we were going through this tough time in the 1990s, I said to myself, I studied economics, I understand finance. How on God's earth we don't have a revolution? Things are mercilessly tough. Then I met a program. I heard a program on the radio called Mutty Perkins. And Dr. Chang, I said, this is why we don't. Every day the Jamaicans will be on there and they say anything they want about the politicians. They cuss them. They quarrel with them. They call them all kinds of names that their mothers would not be proud of. But that was the safety valve. They got the stuff off their chest and were able to survive. This is my own social interpretation of how we survived till we got a government led by Andrew Michael Holness in 2016 that looked at what has happened to our debt to GDP. The only spike you see there is that 2021, 2020 because of the pandemic. Look, we're coming back down and going back down. This is the country you should be in the Caribbean to invest. All my friends from my rich neighbors in the Caribbean, all the big companies are now on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. All of them have come because people want to buy their stocks around the world. But if the stock market is located in a country that has currency controls, the stock people won't buy it. So Jamaica has no currency controls. We're free currency and we're a free and well-run stock market. So when you want to make sure you monetize some of your wealth, Jamaica Stock Exchange is there for you. Now I know you have what you have in India. Lots of good stock markets. I've traded on them myself. So I know them very well. And I know your big bears when there were big bears and what happened to them and how that has happened. So we have a stock market here that makes fun. In other words, we have an ecosystem here. A tax system that works. We don't tax it. We don't raise taxes. We have a stock market that works, recognized by Bloomberg. We have a debt to GDP that is going in one trajectory down. We have an unemployment level. Put up the Jamaica's constant drop in unemployment. Look at that. Look at where we're coming from. 14 odd percent in 2013. In 2016, when we took power, it's 13.4. Now, if you look from 2020, from 2019, we've been hitting new records. We spiked up in 2020, 2021 because of pandemic. But look at where we are. 2022, a record low. 2023 at 4.2% in an emerging economy that's almost no, and the economy is at equilibrium. So we have bright people. So we now have BPOs that employ 71,000 people. We're moving that on. We're using onto knowledge outsourcing a product, which is what Mr. Chowdhury said. But I'm saying all that with the numbers so you can recognize that this is very rare that I don't use PowerPoint when I'm speaking, but I rarely get business people who can walk the numbers with me. So you got it this morning. And it's really a good story. But we have the story, right? Guyana has found 11 billion barrels of oil. It's going to be a major oil economy. Guyana has a draft because of the big rivers bring down silt. They have a draft of 4 to 6 meters. Jamaica is a natural logistics center for Guyana. They're going to have a port like Singapore and Antwerp in 5-7 years' time, but between then and now, there's a lot of money to be made. Jamaica is the place to be the logistics center. Everything comes here. Jamaica is closest to the largest market in the world, 75 minutes. But if you use the F-35, it's probably 20 minutes round trip. So we're saying you're in the right place. We welcome you here. And in this our 7th decade of independence, Jamaicans must become known as excellent scientists. Yes, we run well. Yes, we sing well. We can even play cricket well. But we must become known as excellent scientists, leading innovators and creators of very useful and desired technologies around the world that people will buy, goods and services. Every day we must strive to become known nationally, regionally, internationally as focused, performing, and very smart innovators and business people. This is a critical objective. To secure our political independence, which we've had since 1962, we must secure we as Jamaicans. Canadians not going to do it for us. Trinidadians not going to do it. The British not going to do it. We as Jamaicans, working with our Indian friends, must carve out our own economic independence. More and more, we Jamaicans must grow our international recognition as excellent economic managers. And ladies and gentlemen, that's just a start. So, Mr. Chowdhury and your delegation, we invite you as Indian investors to join in this noble Jamaican partnership economic endeavor. Thank you so much.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.